Welcome back. As always, be sure to leave a comment if you have any idea of this video, if you have any comments about the channel in general, or if you have any topics you want me to make a future video on, let me know in the comments. Also, be sure to check out my other channel, YC Games. It's one with the owner's logo. And without further ado, let's get right into this video. So, this video actually started off as a Jedi Fallen Order video because I finally beat that game a couple weeks ago, and I was just about to make a video. But I realized, I really don't want to use footage from Jedi Fallen Order because I don't want to ruin anything for people that haven't played the game yet. And even like just minor gameplay things, like the different lightsaber types and stuff, I didn't want to expose on accident and not think about it. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to get some Battlefront 2 footage. So I went to go play Battlefront 2 literally just to get the footage. And I played a couple rounds and I realized the game's actually kind of great again. Like, it's what the game should have been all along. And I've been kind of keeping on and off with it for the past couple years, the past year, however long the game's been out. I've been on and off, so I kind of saw this progression. And I kind of want to raise the question now, is it actually good? Does this like justify its botched launch? So that's what this video is going to be about. I'm going to talk briefly about the beginning, how it was just absolutely terrible, how it worked its way back up to greatness, and really just the bigger gaming question on if games like this should be praised for getting good, or should still be criticized for how terrible they were at launch. So that's what this video is going to be all about. Let's jump right into it. Alright, I'm going to keep this part very, very short because I'm sure everyone remembers how this game launched. Battlefront 1 came out, the remaster, or remake, whatever you want to call it. Everyone was excited because Battlefront 2, way back on like the PS2 days, it was like my favorite game on the PS2. Actually, it was my second favorite game, right behind Spider-Man 2, for the PS2. I love that game so much. So when I heard they're bringing back the franchise, I was so excited. I'm not even a huge Star Wars fan. I'm just a fan of the Battlefront franchise. So I was so excited to hear them bring it back. Then it came out, and there was nothing to do. It was a pretty husk with nothing on the inside. It was beautiful, it played well, but you could only play for maybe an hour or two without seeing everything the game has to offer, and that was it. So then, Battlefront 2 rolled around, and the advertisements and everything they showed off made it seem like they learned their lesson. And actually, in all honesty, they did. They did learn their lesson, because it came out with a lot more content. They had a single-player story mode. They added back the class system. They had a bunch more maps and modes. Not a bunch more. They had some new maps and modes. And overall just made the experience worthwhile. You could actually sink hours into it and not get bored. They trade out that weird like arcade style of pickup system with an actual like rewarding system of, you do better in the game, you get these points and you spend these points in the game to use like Jedi and better droids and stuff. It was a much better system overall. It was a much better game overall. And honestly, that's enough. If they would have just stuck with that, this game would have had a phenomenal launch and it would have been cherished today. Not this question of, is it good, that we're stuck with now. Because the biggest thing that brought this back, and everyone knows it, is the microtransactions and the just terrible loot box system. It has been called a Star Wars themed casino by like actual government officials. Do you know how bad you have to be called out by governments of countries? It was ridiculous. They actually like had to have official meetings for this shit to see if is it even legal what they're doing, because it was bad. It was terrible. And they tied progression to it. It wasn't even cosmetic stuff like Fortnite or most games do. It was actual progression tied behind randomized loot that you had to pay money for or just grind out. And even some of the basic features, like Darth Vader was locked behind a paywall. Are you kidding me? This game's already $60. I should be able to get my favorite characters day one, especially if they're already on the disc. It was a terrible launch. I'm sick of talking about it because the game has gotten good. Let's start talking about that now. After that horrendous launch, the game has gotten better. Like, surprisingly better. They could have just dismissed it, said, okay, that's a failure, let's work on Battlefront 3, and try not to mess it up, even though if they made a Battlefront 3 after that, I don't think anyone would buy it because it was bad. But they did the right thing. They stuck with it, they updated it. The most important thing is, they got rid of the microtransactions. They got rid of that dumb progression style. They actually had to make you work for it. You had to level up these classes in order to unlock the better progression. They pretty much got rid of the loot boxes entirely. Pretty much. I don't know if they're still in the game or not. I haven't really delved too deep into it because I've avoided that since the beginning. And I really didn't want to get into it now. So For the most part, actually for all the part, you can play this game now without paying a dime extra than what the cost of admission is. And that's how games should be. So the fact that that's being like rewarded, like, hey look, they did the thing that every game should be doing, is kind of sad, and that's just kind of the state of the gaming landscape in general. But the fact this game was so bad and now it's back to, well, now it's how it should be, it's gotten better. And also, you can't argue, it's been giving out free updates, new planets, new classes, new heroes and villains, all for free, don't gotta pay a dime extra. And that's good. That's how it should have been, even though that's kind of was an apology for Battlefront 1 originally, because they said they were going to do that in the beginning, and now it's more of an apology for this game's launch. So again, it raises the question, should we be rewarding this, or should we still be criticizing this? That's kind of the big talking issue of this video. Now, this is definitely a video that I want to see some feedback down in the comments on, because I genuinely don't know. It can go either way in my eyes. Should this game be praised? Because yes, it did everything right. After the botch launched, they could have given up. They could have said, well, we're done with this. Let's just make a new Star Wars game and hope people don't hate us anymore. But they stuck with it. They made it better. They got rid of the biggest parts that were annoying people. They added some new features. They changed up a couple things, but for the most part, I'd say for the better. I haven't been keeping too up to date on all the little meta changes here and there, so I'm not really sure what all exactly changed. But for the most part, it still feels very much like the game did at launch, getting rid of all the microtransactions and all the just terrible decisions made. So overall, the game's better now. The game is fun to play. It's good. I can play round after round and not get bored. They had a few new modes. Even though those are kind of the only ones you can get into now, is this mode I'm playing right now. It's pretty much the only mode you can really find a game in right now, because the servers are not the best, other than in this mode and the other mode. And these modes do take a while. That's kind of another warning if you want to get back into this game, that these games take a long time. You can easily sink over a half hour into I'd say half hour's on the lower end of how long these modes last. Personally, I like that. If you don't have that much time and you don't like that kind of stuff, maybe still avoid this game, but I enjoy it. I think it's for the better. I like what they did with the game, and I'm glad they did it. But now the big question arises, should we actually forgive Battlefront 2 and EA and DICE for this catastrophe of a launch? Because honestly, when I jumped back in, I played a few matches, I saw the new mode they added, I played through that, I saw the new planets, saw the new heroes they added, and I was saying, yeah, that's a lot of good quality free content. I was enjoying myself, and I was saying, yeah, I was quick to forgive them. I was quick to say, yep, I forgive you, Battlefront 2. You had a pretty terrible launch, but you know what? You're in a good state now. Good for you. I'm glad you worked on it. But then I kind of doubled back and thought for a second, should we forgive them? Because, don't get me wrong, putting the effort in and making it good again was the right idea. That's definitely better than just abandoning a project and saying, well, screw this, we'll work on the next one. No. I like developers that are willing to work on a game and make it good. However, I don't think that should fully, make us good on the launch. The game should still be held accountable for its launch. Because if we just let developers and publishers and whoever off the hook, then we're just going to keep getting absolutely terrible botch launches, games in unplayable states, and then have to wait a couple weeks or months or a year before it's actually good. And that's just not a good way to run a business. That's not a good way for us as gamers as a community to be treated and just accept it, because that's kind of what we've let happen. This is almost the norm now of botch launch, couple patches, month later, okay, now it's playable. This is how the game should have launched. Oh, maybe you should have took that month before you launched it. I don't know. I'm just very upset at how this game launched. Some big examples doing the exact same thing are Anthem and Fallout 76. Those are two beautiful examples of games that fell into this trap of, we can fix it later. It's fine. Just launch the game. And yeah, they're working on it, but everyone's basically given up on those games. I know there's still fans and there's still a community around them, and good for you if you're enjoying those games. Go forth, God bless, whatever. But that's not how it should be handled. I don't want to say like how we're like being oppressed or whatever, but it feels wrong that the companies, the publishers, the developers that we are keeping alive and we're keeping in business with our purchases are just treating us like garbage. Like, oh yeah, we'll just launch anything. Put this out in the public. Screw it. They'll buy anything. They're dumb. They're just stupid. They'll buy anything. Maybe we'll fix it a year later and it'll actually be good. But for now, screw it. We got to make our money. That's not how a business should be ran. That's not how it should be treated. So I personally don't think Battlefront 2 should be fully accepted anymore. It should be played, enjoyed, because it is a good game now. But we shouldn't fully forgive it for its absolutely botched launch. But that's just my opinion. Like I said, I'm enjoying the game, but I definitely want to hear from you guys. If you guys are playing the game, if you've been playing it since the start, if you just jumped back into it, if you're playing it for the first time now, if you're thinking about getting into it but you're not quite sure, maybe I steered you to start trying it again, let me know down in the comments. Because I am genuinely curious if who's all playing this game anymore. Because like I said, I took a break from it. I just started playing it again just for the footage, and I started loving it again. So I'm glad that it's in the state it's in now, but I want to know if I'm the only one that thinks that way. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. Also, as always, be sure to check out my other channel, YC Games. It's one with the orange logo. It's a lot of just us playing video games, having fun over there. Those are more funny moment compilations. If you have any topics for any future videos you want me to make, let me know. That's kind of the biggest thing that's keeping me from making more videos. I'm not really even sure what to talk about anymore because I really don't feel like talking about Borderlands 3. That was the big star of this channel, and that's the only thing that seems to get views on this channel. So, is there any other game you want me to do? Let me know. I'm just kind of getting sick of Borderlands 3. I haven't even finished the Handsome Jack DLC, I'll be honest. I've just been kind of avoiding the game, and I know I shouldn't. I'm sorry. I apologize. I do plan on making a video about that eventually. I don't know. Oh well. Remember, the world doesn't do anything but keep your stick on the ice. We're all in this together. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.